All right, guys, Freddie Fabricate here again, and we got cheap junk, I almost said chunk, cheap junk Chinese go-kart in the shop. It's actually a friend of mine. Engine runs pretty good. It's a Predator 212, which I've had good luck with in the past. The problem is it's a dead axle kart, meaning it only spins the one tire. You can see it's all worn out. So the plan is to rip off everything in the back. I got these tires here. I'm not going to say where I got them from because they are not sponsoring me. I got a live axle, and I have a torque converter, Series 30, I believe, torque converter setup. We're going to put that on, and then I'm going to cut off this entire roll cage is just bolted on, and it's really made out of crap. A friend of mine, the kids rolled it, and the thing just crushed. So I'm going to redesign the whole cage, and I have a new set of seats and safety belts. So we'll see how it goes. All right, guys, I got the junk cart raised up. Had a little jack shaft here with a centrifugal clutch. Cover had fallen off, but it was actually working. We're going to go to the torque converter. Like I said, I just pulled the bolts off the jack shaft. I'll try to do this with one hand. Pull the chain off. You can see the tires, they wear out because it's just a dead axle cart. Pull all this off as best I can, and then I'll probably just end up cutting off the ends of each axle. I'll pull the motor, and then I'm going to start fitting the mounts for the live axle, the bearing holders. All right, I cut off this wheel next on the right side. Leaving this cross brace in there for now. I'm going to cut off the other side, and I got a lot of this bracketry and crap that probably needs to go. Just going to whack this one off, and then we'll see. I've loosened up the motor mounts. I'd love to try to keep the motor mounted there if I could. Maybe I could just move the axle back a little bit, and the disc brake and sprocket might clear, and I could just leave this where it is, but we'll see how it goes once I keep it moving. All right, so ran into my first problem. I had said earlier, I'm probably gonna have to cut all this stuff out of the way. I tried mounting the torque converter, and as you can see, the pulley's hitting the heat shield on the cylinder. I can't go any lower because, well, that's I should say the shaft on the backside. This is the pulley side is hitting this mount for the old jack shaft. So most likely gonna just cut all of this off, guys. Just start with a clean slate. I might also have to raise the motor. I'm thinking if I raise the motor up, then I could get some nice swing on the torque converter. All right, guys, so I'm making some headway here. I had this piece left over that I cut off on the other side. I cut it to fit over here, scraped the paint off, and just tack welded it on for now. That's basically the mount for the mechanical disc brake. I was able to rebend the original brake rod. I had to weld a smaller pin on the end here, and I just drilled it. I put a couple washers, and I didn't finish bending it, but I got a cotter pin on there. That's done. I made up a little bit of a keyway for the disc here. My next problem, guys, is, and I quickly went online to see, I don't know if you could see here, but in order for this chain not to rub on this aluminum housing, a washer needs to be placed in between the sprocket and the housing itself. So, of course, I put everything together and then figured that out. This came assembled when I bought this torque converter. So I'm not sure why they would continue to sell these without that washer installed. Right now I have this sprocket a little bit to the left. That's the only way I could get it to not rub on the housing. So that's very annoying. The other problem I had was the 4 bolts that hold this aluminum bracket to the engine were all too long. If I put washers to space them out, they hit this inside edge of the pulley. So I had to cut those down. Then my bolt on the end here was also too long. Had to cut that down. Other than that, you know, it wasn't too bad on this end. The belt, you have to be careful. There's a flat side of the belt that's on the inside, and this side is at an angle. The angled side goes out. Of course, they did that wrong the first time. So So anyway, hopefully these tricks help you guys out. I started cutting off this cage. It's not even a cage. They call it, they say on the top here, for ornamental purposes only. And I know that to be true because my friend's kid almost died rolling his. So I had to build a whole new cage for him. This cage is bolted together. They drilled right through. The cage is made out of thin wall tubing to begin with. And then they decided it'd be a good idea to put like a 3/8 size bolt. I know it's metric, but something the equivalent to weaken it even more. So I'm basically going to cut it all off. You can see here, you know, it just wraps around the lower frame. I'm going to cut everything off. I'm going to drop the cage down a little bit, and I'm going to weld everything. And I'll weld all these holes together, and I'll kind of just weld the whole cage together. And then I'll put reinforcements, like, you know, maybe a bar from here to here, something down in the bottom from there to there. This had one single piece in the middle here. As you can see, I cut it off. That came down to there. I'm going to put 2 going down. Just going to try to beef it up as much as I can. All right, I got the whole cage either unbolted or cut off for now. The seat I'm going to be installing right here. Hopefully you guys can see it. It's definitely wider. I'm going to use this seat pan because it does have the adjustment forwards and backwards. But these little side rails are going to have to go for now. I'll just chop them off 3 spots. I have new shoulder belts that are going, so I'll be making a crossbar for that. You can see here how dumb that they make all these holes here. So when the kids crash these things, those are the spots that snap. I'm going to show you the upright roll cage here. Has all these holes drilled in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and just weld all that up. And then I'm going to cut off the bottom. The bottom at least had these loops, but if you grab the cage, you could basically move the whole thing. Such a piece of shit. So I'm just going to cut off the bottom, and then I'm going to weld it back onto the frame. And then I'll do what I said again with these. I'll weld up the holes, cut the bottoms off, and I'm just going to weld everything solid. All right, I got 3 of the 4 holes drilled right here. I just clear the track, luckily. I just got to drill that last one, and then I'll bolt the seat on. All right, so I finished up the holes for the seat. Had to elongate them a little bit because I didn't get them perfect, but that's all right. No one's ever going to see it. Now I'm starting on the roll cage again. I cut off the bottoms here, and I cut about 6 inches off the height. I'm going to mess around with it, just tack it together and see what it looks like. But this thing was just way too tall the way it was from the factory. So I'm going to try to shorten it down a little. What I'm going to do here now is I'll just put this on the ground. I'm going to try to just do this with one arm, one hand. I'm basically just going to push my weight down and get these to pull in just that couple inches that I need. All right, that's it. This side's all welded. Just gonna hit it quick with the buffing wheel and quick black paint. Not looking to impress anybody, you know, guys. All right, so I just took the grinder and gave a little bit of a fish mount to the end of these pipes to get a nice tight fit. Like I said, not going too crazy, but got it pretty good. I just tacked it in. And then welded up the one hole in the front cross members. The front, I kind of left it flat just because I needed the length. Obviously, I'm going to grind that down, guys. I know it looks terrible. Fill it in. So, I'm going to do the fish mouth on this pipe again. That's going to go something like that. And then get welded right onto the front there. Should be good. All right, so doing pretty good. About to call it a night. I just made up like a little rebar cage on the top. I gave it a little crown to it to kind of match the way this goes. And then tomorrow, I'm going to fit the seat. And I'll probably bring a piece of tubing coming out here and I'm gonna make one side piece come down and just tie right back into here. And then I'll probably put a rebar from here to here to somehow just solidify that a little bit. All right, I made some good progress, guys. Got this whole side tubing in, got some reinforcements in, and starting to finish up some of the welds. Hopefully one more day, and I should at least take it out for a test ride. I got to bolt down the seat and put some seat belts. I actually don't like these bars right here. I'm gonna end up putting something little sharper of an angle, just like that. It seems like, you know, this part right here is hitting my kids' legs when they sit in it. Other than that, it's looking pretty good. All right, guys, I had to make one change. Fortunately, I didn't have my kids home with me when I was putting these front bars in. So when my daughter sat in the cart, her leg was actually hitting this bar. So I decided to just chop them off, and I brought it a little forward. I actually just put it right on top of this lower support. So I think it should be pretty strong there anyway. Other than that, just going around, finishing up all the welds. And like I said a million times, I got to mount the seat and figure out the seat belts and finish welding the bearing blocks. I'm gonna pull the bearing off real quick and see if I could just weld it without distorting it, and then pop it back together. All right, guys, chop this stupid bracket out of the way. I'll clean this up in a minute, and then fit in the cover just like that. Kind of just went around here with a Sharpie, marked right there, marked underneath. And then you can see, I'm just gonna take the grinder and cut that out, hope for the best. All right, guys, we got her all together. Give her a quick rattle can paint job. Actually primer, then paint, went with the semi-gloss. You can see it's looking pretty good. Gonna put the seat in next, seat belt, and then take it for a test drive. All right, whenever you're ready.